and I mean nobody, can hear you scream. Welcome back, everybody, to the channel. It is the most earth-breaking, ground-shaking, but never media show money-taking, the man, the myth, the legend, the most electrifying YouTuber in all of YouTube entertainment today. And I am here to bring you guys a very exciting review, a very contentious review of the brand new Fede Alvarez, in my mind, return to original form, Alien Romulus. Now, this is contentious for several different reasons, but mainly the one reason is I will get to it the end of this. I'm not going to do any spoilers here. I will be doing a full spoiler breakdown like I did with Maxine and Longlegs, and going in depth and breaking down scene by scene what I like, what I didn't like. So this is going to be a very non-spoiler review, giving my vague thoughts. So let me start this off like I always do. Alien Romulus is directed by Fede Alvarez with a screenplay written by Rodo Segueras, who he works with, and produced by Scott Free Productions, which is Ridley Scott's little entertainment production studio that he uses to circumvent the studio bullshit. Hey, what's up, Carmen? How you doing? So, what do I think about Alien Romulus? Well, let's start with just the basics here. I'm going to just talk about what is Alien Romulus about, where does it take place in the timeline. Alien Romulus is a prequel sequel that it fits in between Alien and Aliens. No spoilers. So what is the film about? The film stars Kelly Spini, David Johnson, Archie Renex, Isabella Merced, and Spike Fearon, and it is between the events of the first two movies, and it follows a group of downtrodden young space colonists in the pursuit of better life conditions who encounter the hostile creatures we have known and loved to be as the xenomorph. So, what did I think about it? First off, let me just start off with a general feel for this movie. And like I said, this is non-spoilers. Please do not put spoilers in the comments. If you want to comment back, I will be doing a spoiler discussion later, but it's not this video. So what do I think? Let me start first with the atmosphere, the most important thing in an alien film. This movie very much feels like the original movie. Now, if you guys don't know, I'm a huge Aliens fan. Go check out my playlist. I have covered every single Aliens. In particular, my favorite is Alien. I know some people love Aliens. I love Aliens for Bill Paxton and the dialogue there, but I'm an Alien fan. I'm a fan of the original feel of the original movies. Now, if you guys don't know, Fede Alvarez shot this for $80 million with marketing. Supposedly 90 mil or so to 100 mil is the total budget. This movie made that back in like the weekend. But the thing I love the most about this film, it brings me back to the film of the original Nostromo with the red lights, the analog computer systems, the do, 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 shit your pants kind of moments. This, to me, has some of the best use of the face huggers I've seen in going on 20 years. There's two scenes in this in particular that scared the shit out of me. I went to see this with the little dictator, my daughter. We literally were on the edge of our seats for two very specific moments in the film. Like I said, this is non-spoilers, so I'm not going to spoil anything. But you'll know when you see it. Fucking terrifying. Terrifying what they did with the face huggers. Just like crazy. The atmosphere that they create as far as where these people are put into it is really good. Now, characters. This is an alien movie, and I excuse a lot, but honestly, the most interesting character is Andy. You'll know who that is when you see the movie, and he's the android. The rest of the characters, and I'll get to my score when I get to my point deductions, are very flat. They are basically just there to fucking die. Like, they have And the thing is, in the original Alien, if you really think about it, those characters were not fleshed out at all, except for Ellen Ripley and maybe Dallas and Rook, the android. There was nothing to them. It was really their bond that made you believe there was more to the characters. And I've heard this said a lot. Well, there's no character development. No fucking movie that's an Alien movie ever did character development. Even think of the second one, Corporal Hicks, Vasquez, Baskins. Like, none of them really were characterized at all. The only one who was really characterized was Ellen Ripley. And then you had a bunch of situations. And I think people forget exactly how much little character development is in these movies. So that didn't particularly bother me, except for the dynamic between Andy and Rain, the lead character played by Kelly Spanny. I think that's her name. Sorry if I butchered that. Their relationship is really the focal point of this movie, but nobody else I really knew or even really gave a shit about. And it kind of felt like they were there just to be fodder. So that's a big point deduction. And now the biggest thing, and once again, this is not spoilers, but I will be doing a spoiler because I got to talk about this, exactly how it affects my rating. The ending does something that I am 50-50 on. I like and respect the wildly different direction they were going, but it's taking from something that I hate. This movie pays homage to a lot of the Alien films. Its main source of inspiration is Alien, but it mixes a little bit of Aliens, a little bit of Resurrection, a little bit of Prometheus, a little bit of Covenant. And those aspects I don't like because I don't like Covenant. I thought Prometheus was interesting, but they really never went anywhere with it. So there were some things in here from those movies that I really just do not like. I hate Alien Resurrection. It's fun. It's got Brad Dourif. It's got a lot of people like Ron Perlman and stuff, but it's a terrible movie. Also, shout out, 90% of this movie is practical effects. Literally, the xenomorphs that you see are people in suits, which I 100% agree. The VFX is so good in this, I had a hard time, and I couldn't tell you where the VFX begins and the practical ends. So that $80 million budget was pretty well spent on the things that it needed to kind of cover up or clear up of the things you couldn't shoot practically. There were a lot of miniatures used. I watched the interviews. Fede Alvarez used a lot of miniatures and real actors and practical blood and gore, so it all looks great when you see it. This movie is brutal in the way that Fede Alvarez does movies. So if you don't know who Fede Alvarez is, what's up? Good to see you. 1980 called and they want their hat back. Oh, they can't have it back. Anyways, so yes, there is someone behind me. That's Nick Cage. Anyways, so I wanted to say this movie here is a lot in the style that Fede Alvarez shoots his movies. He's good with claustrophobic, tight spaces, and I really liked this movie when it felt enclosed. The movie does open up near the ending, and I would have appreciated them keeping it confined because part of the tension for me in an Alien film is the feeling of being trapped in these spaces and not knowing where the creature is and not knowing what's going to happen. And I think that's where the movie is very effective. Definitely see this in the theater. The soundscape and the sound design was very well done, expertly crafted. And I gotta say, I want to see who did the sound. Okay, so the music is edited by Benjamin Wilfisk, who did a very good job. It's edited by Jake Roberts. Both did great. And on cinematography is Gallo Oliveres. Yeah, sorry if I butchered your name, buddy. But yeah, great job with editing, sound design, and musical score. They used a lot of the original Alien sounds in this movie. Like, literally, they were given permission to go back through the old tapes and replicate the noises from the original films. So I think this is very good as a callback to the originals. This is not, to at least to me, a cash grab where they're just using it as nostalgia bait. It's very much in the DNA of what this movie is. It feels like it's the movie as opposed to them trying to go, oh, remember this? They do a lot of that towards the end of the film. But for the most part, the setup and the beginning of it harkens back to a time where there was a build-up before you got to the action. Now, some people might not like that it is a bit of a 20, 30-minute build-up of a 2-hour movie. But once they get on to Romulus and shit starts going down, then it goes nuts and off the fucking rails. And I appreciated that. Now, once again, my negatives largely in this movie are two things. One, the lack of characterization, and two, the ending is the biggest thing I hear across the internet, and I do agree that is going to greatly affect how much you like this movie. The ending, it has caused a big rift, and thankfully this is more of a nerd rift thing. This isn't politics or anything. It's just whether or not you like certain films is going to depend on how the ending of this lands for you. There is essentially feels like two endings. I would have liked them to just stop, but the movie kept going. And that to me really hurt the setup because I got what they were doing, but I don't know if I really liked it. It doesn't tank the movie for me. I respect going for a bold choice towards the ending, but I do get why a lot of people won't like this. Some people find it goofy, whatever. I had a fun time. My daughter had a fun time. We both enjoy horror. And there were legit moments where I was gripping my seat. Hey, Cornell, what's up? And there's my boy, Nick Cage. So it did very much give me a sense of, like, I didn't waste money, and I appreciate that. Normally, I get passes from working at the theater. Unfortunately, Fox is owned by Disney, and Disney are a bunch of cocksuckers, and we can't use the passes for 2 weeks. So I paid $30 to see this in the IMAX, and I gotta say, I am not angry with the money that I spent. Now, is this movie gonna land for everybody? Fuck no. This is, to me, what like Prometheus and the other ones were like. There's going to be a section of people who fucking hate this movie. There's going to be a section of people who are like, this is what I've wanted for the past 20 years. There's going to be people who are Aliens fans who don't like Alien that go into this thinking it's going to be that, and it's not. There's going to be Alien fans where this isn't exactly an Alien movie. So it's in a weird middle place where it's going to divide a lot of people depending on which movies you like. But all in all, do I think it's a terrible movie? Fuck no. I've seen so many, like Borderlands is a terrible movie. This is a divisive movie in the fact that it is very specific to what preference and what kind of Alien fan you are. For me, I, for the most part, like most of the Aliens. When I was a kid, I went to see Alien 3. That holds a special place. Fucking people hate Alien 3. There are people who vehemently fucking hate that movie with a passion. I love it because of the memories associated with the film. And so I'm able to forgive a lot of things because Alien 3 killed like 2 main characters off screen. And I don't think this movie does anything like that egregious. I just think they make one really bold choice, and it's in the last 15 minutes of the film, and it's really going to impact how much you like this movie. But it doesn't affect my enjoyment, and for this film, I give this movie an 8 out of 10. No one's beaten Longlegs yet. Nick is still on top of the horror list. There is one other horror movie. It's contending for first and second place between two. Late Night with the Devil, for me, right now, is probably the best horror movie that's came out, hands down. It's one of my favorites of this year. But Aliens Romulus is definitely up there with my top 5 on my top 10 list. It really satisfied what I was looking for. The only negatives I have was the characters I didn't give a fuck about, and the ones I wanted them to explore, they don't go deep enough with it, and you'll understand when you watch the movie. My favorite and probably the standout actor of this movie is the dude who plays Andy, which is played by, hold on a second, I got my notes here because I wanted to make sure. Where is the actors list? I wanted to make sure I had the actors down. But David Johnson plays Andy, and he does a phenomenal job. There's a particular scene you'll see where something happens to the character, and he has to play essentially 2 different characters, and it really works for the movie. The actor does an amazing job making you believe that he has completely changed, being a cyborg. And like I said, I don't want to give it away, but the relationship between him and Rain and their dynamic was really the thing I was invested the most in this movie. And I always like sci-fi that asks the question of, can androids be human? Where does their programming stop? What we have, like emotions and logic, and I like those questions being explored, and I wish they would have made it more impactful. And it's hard for me to talk about without doing a spoiler section, but there's a couple of moments I feel like they could have capitalized on the relationship, and instead they were just kind of moving towards the end of the movie. Once you get on the fucking space station, it's like on. Crazy shit is happening. There's tons of things going down, and there's there's a ticking clock, and something's going to happen as things happen in alien movies. There's external forces and shit that they're racing against. And I think that undercuts a lot of the development you could have had between your 2 main leads. I heard a lot of shit talked about the lead, Callie Spanny. I do see that they were trying to go for a Ripley vibe, but I just like to remind people of the first Alien movie. Nobody knew who the lead was going to be. At that time, there were a lot of big actors in there who had made a pretty good career. Nobody knew who Sigourney Weaver was. She really doesn't own Ripley until the last, 30 minutes of Alien 1 and Aliens. So I think it's kind of unfair that they give this new actress shit when this is her first movie. And hopefully, from what I hear, there'll be a continuation, and hopefully we get to build more on her character. They focus a lot on Andy, but she does have a couple of moments that I really enjoyed. One moment in particular, which I'll talk about in spoilers. But I don't think it's fair to just pigeonholed an actress and expect so much for an introduction. I knew right off the bat she was going to be the main one. It was pretty fucking obvious, unlike the first movie. But I think there's room to build on this character and Andy the robot, and maybe bring them back and really expand on their dynamic. But anyways, that's it for me. In the comments below, let me know, what did you think of Alien Romulus? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you like Zod? It's a fucking 2. This is a piece of shit. Are you like me and you're like, dude, I've been waiting for this movie for 20 years? Let me know. And thank you very much for everybody who is watching these reviews. Hopefully you enjoy them. As always, remember, there is only one rule here in the Fandom Zone: kneel before the General Zod.